Welcome to Autofaze, this is part 3 of the WS6 turbo build. On this episode, we're gonna mount the turbo. Man, this is gonna be awesome. Brad, how are we gonna do that?
I've always used these Maven mounts. They're a billet piece of metal that bolts to the bottom of the center section of the turbo. It's a great product. I've used them for years. They give the turbo kit rigidity and they help hold up the turbo kit. Plus, they hold the turbo for you so that you don't have as much weight pushing down on the turbo.
Yeah, and most of the time, most kits, it's mainly just the piping that holds the turbo on, right?
They'll use the turbo piping, the hot side, to hold it up. And you can do that, but once it gets hanging out there ahead of the engine, you got to realize it's bouncing around and it can cause some stress on the rest of the turbo kit. So if you use a Maven mount, it prevents that.
This is gonna be a rad time. I'm excited. Let's get to work.
Let's do it. So right now I'm just trying to see where we're going to mount the Maven mount to mount this, because it's all pretty much going to be solid. So we'll set this over here for now. But this is a Maven mount. I use on my turbo kits unless it's like a very rare instance that I don't. But it's a really great built product. It's got an O-ring in here. And this seals on the drain side of the turbo, and comes with the bolts. Comes with an extra O-ring in case you take it off or you need to replace it at some time. But my idea is to mount something off of the engine that's removable, because whenever you have a car like this, you're end up working on it for some reason. So I like to have this removable if all possible. Some people, if you're building like a race car, you can just weld this off the cage. But in this instance, since we're kind of doing street car things, we'll see if we can mount it. Maybe sometimes you can mount them like off of brackets or something, but I think if we make a plate that goes between these water pump bolts and then have a piece of tube come off, we can actually have it set somewhere like that. What do you think?
So technically we're only going to use one side of the Maven, right?
Yeah, so you don't have to, you can. So you can actually go like a bar from here to there and like put it on both sides.
Right.
But once you weld it, it's going to be pretty stout. Plus the turbo kit will be holding it up, so it'll get a lot of rigidity. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this come, and then this is going to come back zigzag this way. So it'll basically be like having this and then just moving it down to the lower spot where we want to go.
That's pretty cool.
Where this is at, it's going to be about there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's going to be in the center of that. And then we can cut this back. Now we got this zig in here. On this, what we're going to do, this is just a scrap piece of thicker steel that I got laying around. And so what we're going to do is I took a water pump gasket, laid it on here, traced it, and this will give us our holes. So this essentially will mimic the water pump bolt holes that we need. So we'll cut this out, drill these holes, and then we'll mount a piece of tube to it, and that'll hold the Maven mount.
We took an inch out of it. Brad is making sure all of our measurements are proper.
I really like to use these Maven mounts. It's a simple idea, but sometimes simplicity is usually what makes the best ideas, and it works so great. Gives you a spot here for your drain, so you're not trying to, buy an adapt. You can pretty much make sure your turbo is going to be level before you even start in the turbo kit. One of the benefits to the Maven mounts.
There's a small part of the plate that we're going to have to notch so we can get it to sit flush. I think it's in a pretty good position. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay, so we just finished up the Maven mount. As you can see here, we took a piece of plate steel and used a water pump gasket as a template, drilled some holes in it, trimmed it up. As you can see, we had to trim right around here because it was kind of hitting that webbing on the water pump. Took some 1-inch chromoly tubing, put it in the JD squared tubing bender, bent it up, and welded everything, and now this Maven mount's ready to hold pretty much whatever we want to put on it. It's nice and sturdy. Right here you can see we had to weld because the die would only let me put these two bins so close together, and in order to get the turbo where we wanted it, I had to cut it and weld it. But it's not like it's a roll cage or anything, so it's just going to hold the turbo, so it won't really matter for structural.
Wow, this looks great. I mean, the turbo just looks like it's floating in there. Man, this turned out way better than I ever expected it would, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the Maven mount is a great product. I can't say enough about them. It's neat just to see how the turbo is in there now. It's in its final position where it's going to be. The Maven mount makes it great because you get your spacing between your radiator and your engine. You can do your side to side. You get everything the way you want it, and then when you do the turbo piping, you just go to it. You don't sit there and have to have somebody hold the turbo for you and hope that it's level, or have like a cherry picker or something on it. You literally just kind of just put it in there how you want it, and then you build the kit to it. So another great product, yeah.
So I remember before we started filming part 1, we were talking like Brad's like, you gotta get a Maven mount. I'm like, Maven mount, okay, I'll order it. But I mean, had no thoughts in my mind that it was gonna be this rad looking. Like once it's mounting, looks like it's floating, and it's really starting to sink in now. I mean, because we did part 1 and part 2. This is gonna be a turbo car now. Like this really hits home with me. Like, man, like this is a drastic makeover, and I am, as you can tell, I'm super excited. I really am. I mean, this looks awesome in here. Yeah, it looks great. It'll be cool to start doing some piping on the next one. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I'm Travis.
I'm Brad.
We'll see you on the next one.